Hello friends, this is our table from Rathskellers. It does a bunch of crazy stuff, including the ability to wirelessly charge your phone. A lot of people have seen the table in the videos we've been making and had questions about it because it is pretty cool. This is a custom gaming table that I ordered like 6 months before we launched the Kickstarter. It didn't take 6 months for them to make the table, by the way. We just didn't have a place to put it. So it lived in Greece, which is where Rathskellers is, until we had this studio. And it does some pretty crazy stuff in addition to charging your phone. Because the table is plugged in, it does stuff like it's got lights. It's got lights, and you can change the color of the lights. Now, we haven't actually played D&D on this table yet, but we've played a lot of games here, and so I'm going to give you my basic review of this table and what I like and what little tiny things annoy me about it. The lights are Philips Hue lights, and I have Philips Hue lights at home. I want to RGB all the things. I want to put RGB lighting in everything. So when I saw that there was an option for RGB lighting in my gaming table, I was like, absolutely, let's go for it. But as it turns out, now that we've used the table and we've used the lighting, it's basically a gimmick. Maybe it's because we have these fantastic lights in our space, but turning the lights on, especially white, especially at full blast, it gets very quickly, you get eye fatigue because you're essentially, when you're looking at the board or the table, you're staring into these lights. So sometimes we turn them on and we'll change them color like orange and we'll make them warmer or less bright, but typically we just leave them off. One of the things I really like about this table is how configurable it is and the number of options and the number of ways you have to raise or lower the playfield. For instance, we have this great topper, this great speed cloth, which I think is the same kind of cloth they use on Vegas, like poker tables and stuff like that. When you order the table, you get a whole bunch of samples of different colors of wood and different colors of topper, and there's all sorts of kind of mix and match stuff you can do, but the topper is removable. The topper, by the way, is double-sided, so you get 2 different color choices, and this is an entirely different kind of fabric. This is the table without the topper in it. You can see how deep it is. This is great because you can be playing a miniature war game with your friends, and then if it turns out that the game is running long and you want to stop and pause the game and you don't have to clean everything up, and maybe you're thinking about like maybe taking a picture of it and recreating everything, one of the things you can do is leave the game set up, put one of the tops on, and now you've got your previous game still set up underneath this, and you have your entire table that you can still use to play games on. The wooden top we just put in is also fitted so that your felt topper sits right on top of it. Also, for convenience's sake, there are these nice little tabby things that you can grab onto to lift your topper out, and we have at least once put the top back in with these underneath it. And then it becomes actually almost impossible to get the thing out. And if you don't want a felt topper, you just want a solid wood surface to play on, it's got these gorgeous wood panels that you can install. And the last panel, which I thought this was incredibly clever, the last panel, when it goes in, it is spring loaded so that it slots in and it presses against the rest of the panels, holding them in place. When you want to take the panels out, there's actually an ingenious little mechanism that took us a little while to figure out what it was. Boot. There is a little metal plunger right here, which you can just press up on, and it will push the this panel out, and you're good to go. You can actually use 2 different levels of the table at the same time. You can put the felt topper in the bottom of the table, and you can use some of the panels because they give you this cool wooden slat that fits in and seals off the underside so you don't have to worry about losing dice under here. So the Dungeon Master, for instance, can be using this part of the table while the players are all using this part, and the players can still roll their dice up against the table sides without having to worry about the dice getting lost underneath the Dungeon Master's top. The table also has 3 drawers around the edge that you can use to put books in. We've got charging cables in this one, and one of the things that everyone who's come by has been impressed by is the fact that these are anti-slam drawers. So even if you try to slam them, it just slowly, it defeats you, and it will slowly slide the drawer in where it belongs. The table also comes with this really quite well-designed aluminum rail system running all along the outside of the table. It holds cup holders, which everybody who comes to the table loves the cup holders. And you can see this is also a piece of aluminum with a little lip here, and the lip just fits into the railing. And there's double cup holders, and there's also, I got basically all the tchotchkes. There's a wine glass holder. I don't know why I got this. I don't drink wine. I don't really drink anything. There's a box. Look, it's a box you can put in. It's got the same colored felt as the topper. I think maybe it's for like die rolling or something like that. And this is super cool. There's an iPad or tablet holder, and you can tell here's where the rail goes, and your iPad sits in here, and there's a little place for your plug for your charger. There's also one of these, whatever this is. It's just a little table for the Dungeon Master, I think, to have dice and notes and whatnot set up on. I also got a dice tower, which they make because they've already got the wood and the felt, so why not? I basically ordered all the stuff they have just because I figured people were going to get to see it, we were going to be streaming, and I wanted to have something that both the players got a kick out of that was also beautiful and functional, and that people watching the stream would go, hey, that looks really cool. Would I have got a table like this for myself? Actually, probably, yeah, I would have, but probably I wouldn't have gone crazy overboard and gotten literally every single add-on. I did a lot of research, actually, before I ordered this table. I looked at there are lots of different custom gaming tables. I have a friend of mine, we played at his house every other weekend, and he's got a custom gaming table from another company, and there are lots of great options. I picked this one because it was the one, frankly, that looked the prettiest, that had the most gorgeous looking wood, and I loved the wireless charging, and I loved it has Bluetooth speakers built into the table, which means you are hearing me through the speakers right now, which is not normally how we use this feature. Typically, we just pump music through it. But then actually, as it turns out over time, this is another neat thing that is actually kind of gimmicky because they're downward-facing speakers, and as a result, the sound is often muffled, and we end up using our own other Bluetooth speakers in the room. Hello. One of the things I really, really do not like about this table is the fact that there's no power button. The Bluetooth speakers often don't pair, and this may not be the table's fault. This may be because there's more than one person at the table whose phone is trying to pair. That may be the problem, but cycling the power solves that, and the only way to cycle the power in the table is this plug right here, which you have to unplug and then plug back in. The fact that there's no power switch anywhere else on the table, and it's a table that has lights and audio is, it's really annoying. Something else we all like is the fact that there are these great USB charging plugs all around the table. They're very convenient, and this way, if you don't have wireless charging, you can still plug your phone in, or if you need to charge something else with a USB cable, there's no problem. The only issue, and this is kind of baffling like the power switch, is that these plugs are on 3 of the 4 corners of the table. So if you're sitting on that corner of the table, you're kind of screwed. That's a silly thing to complain about, right? There aren't enough USB chargers around the outside of my custom gaming table. But it is something that, in all frankness, that the players, when they sit down and they're looking for some place to plug in their phone, when the other players all have a place to plug in their phone and the players sitting over there don't, those players go, what the heck? This is, by any reasonable definition, a stupid, expensive gaming table. But I was incredibly happy with the service we got from Rathskellers. The folks at Rathskellers were very cool. Every time they would send us samples to pick from, we would get these cool candies from Greece that they don't have here in America. And obviously, you don't need all the bells and whistles. You don't even need a table this big. They make smaller tables. They make all different kinds of tables. You have lots of options when buying a custom gaming table. And frankly, I don't know. I have several friends of mine that have custom gaming tables, all from different companies. None of them have ever complained about it. So I suspect if you bit the bullet and decided I'm going to get my own custom gaming table, pretty much any company you went to, you're probably going to have a good experience. Although I'm not an expert, I picked Rathskellers. I was super happy with how this turned out. I've yet to have anybody come over, see the table, and not be really impressed, and then continue to be impressed as they discover all the cool stuff it does. One of the things they really love is they love this rail system and how customizable it is and all the different. In fact, I think we need more of these because my friends complain that there aren't enough, and I know this is a silly thing to complain about, but if you're somebody like Lars who has a big mug of water that they drink from, this is not physically large enough to put his mug in, and that's Lars. He's going to find something to complain about. I'm perfectly happy to give Rathskellers a great review. There's a link in the doobly-doo to their website. I just don't want you to feel like you have to get a table from this one company in Greece. You have lots of options, and I think if you decide to spring for a gaming table, you're probably going to be happy no matter who you go with, but gosh, this table is beautiful. Because I sprung for literally every option, communication with Rathskellers, while it was a lot of fun and they were very communicative, they were often asking me questions about things I didn't really understand. I didn't really know what we were talking about, and I would get different bits confused. Like, we would be talking about the topper, which we showed off, but they also had this thing that I bought that they threw in that I don't know what is. It's just another rectangular thing with some felt on it, and it's got a different color on the other side, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this or how I'm supposed to use it. They also have these cool poker chip trays that we've actually used for some other, we don't play poker yet, but we have other games that we use these things for. So that's it. This is MCDM. It doesn't even really feel like it's my gaming table. It doesn't live in my house. It lives at my office. It feels like it's our gaming table. And the only bad things I could think of to say about it were the fact that there's no power switch, which is really annoying sometimes, and the fact that every time people sit down at that corner of the table, they're like, hey, where's my USB charger? Apart from that, I love the table. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's functional, it's impressive. It does everything we want it to do. It does everything they said it would do. And I'm, pretty happy with my purchase. So as a review, if there are 5 stars, it gets all 5. Thanks for putting up with me showing off my ridiculously over-featured table. I know it is somewhat ostentatious, but every time it would show up in a video, there would be people in the comments saying, where did you get that table? And I knew when I saw that I was gonna have to do a review because you haven't yet got to see all the cool stuff it can do. Until next time, peace out.
Helping you out because you're a new player. And I'm saying I've got no stuff.
Is there any benefit to me betting though on a different number and winning that way?
Well, sure, but you'd have to go 19 of something.
No, I mean
very
like,
important. But then if you lift now, he loses.
Oh,
dice.
I see. You get rid
if
of
she
it.
lifts on you, like if you bet anything right now, and she calls bullshit.
I'm not sure I've ever been happier in my life. I'm literally not sure I've ever been happier in my life.
She's gonna lift.
All right, here's the thing. All right, there's a star here. I was lying, but I'm still calling bullshit.
Okay, so bullshit. Pull that star out.